pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a roll call, please.
Vaughn.
Here.
Kurtz.
Here.
Hayward.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Sharp.
Here.
McLaughlin.
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf,
Second.
second by O'Loughlin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next is our public forum. It says this is a time set aside for visitors and public comments only on topics of city business other than those listed on tonight's agenda. Please understand the council cannot take any action on your comments at this meeting due to requirements of the open meetings law, but may do so at a future meeting. Each speaker will be allowed a maximum of 5 minutes to state their comments. Thank you for your cooperation. I only have one name here, and it's Leanne Harrison, if you would come forward.
Good evening.
Hi, Leanne.
Hi. Leanne Harrison, 514 Fifth Avenue Southwest, here representing the Historical Society. And I know this is a busy time of the year, so I didn't want you to forget that the Historical Society has 2 events coming up. And the first one is this Saturday, which is the annual Cookie Walk, and it's from 10 until noon at the Presbyterian Church. And for those that have not attended, you are to come with your $5, and we will give you an empty box, and you fill the box with the cookies of your choice, which is turned out to be a very good event for us. And the second event is an open house for the Lee Mansion, and that is Friday evening, December 7th, from 4 to 7. And you'd be amazed at the amount of work that has been done this past year. And we have had over 700 volunteer hours, which is something outstanding, we think. And these are the fundraisers for strictly the Lee Mansion. And we are doing the grants and the donations. And so we hope that the City Council will consider a request for funding for part of our projects for this coming year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne.
Okay, next on the agenda is to motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: minutes of the November 13th, 2018 regular meeting, Stacy's Checkered Flag Class C liquor license and outdoor service area from October 21st, 2018 to October 20th, 2019.
So moved.
Motion by Kurt.
Second.
Second by Scharf. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is approval of claims for payment.
So moved.
Motion by O'Loughlin.
That was Hill.
That was Hill? Oh, sorry.
Second.
I knew it from this side. Kurtz, was that the second one? Okay, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Hearings and ordinances. Motion to approve a resolution to fix date of December 10th, 2018 at 6:30 PM for a public hearing on proposal to enter into a sewer revenue loan and disbursement agreement and to borrow money thereunder in a principal amount not to exceed $1,565,000.
Is this the state revolving fund?
Yes, this is the state revolving loan fund. The number is slightly higher than what we saw previously. There have been a couple of things that have changed. We're allowed to include engineering services in this, so they've added that number to it. We also had a couple of surprises after the bid letting, in that we have a digester that's plugged that we have to unplug so we can empty it before they can do the work to it. So some of those things have been added. We were able to get those in here in advance of the notice of public hearing. We do not have to borrow the 1.5 million. This just gives us the authority to go up to 1,565,000. That's your cap as you go through the process.
And for any of the public watching, this money comes from revenue that we generate as part of the sewer bill, correct?
This is all revenue that we generate through the wastewater plant, and it is for the plant improvements. The reason that the state revolving loan fund is being involved is because we can recapture part of that repayment in funds to use in other water quality projects, not only in Independence, but directly affecting Independence. So it gives us some latitude on where we can deal with water quality issues throughout the community. And again, that's the purpose for the SRF loan.
I'd make the motion.
Motion by Kurtz,
Second?
second by Hill. Roll call, please.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is a motion to approve a resolution to file the 2018 annual financial report.
So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Scharf. We need a roll call on this also?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next is a motion to approve a resolution approving the 2020 tax increment financing indebtedness certification and authorizing the city clerk to submit the indebtedness certification to the county auditor.
This 2020, that starts, what, July 1st of next year?
19.
2019?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. So moved.
Motion by Hill,
Second.
second by Kurtz. A roll call, please.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next is a motion to approve the 2018 annual urban renewal report and authorize the city clerk to submit the report to the Department of Management by December 1st, 2018.
The urban renewal, that's where we can actually pull the TIF dollars from, is that, am I right on that?
Well, the certification that you just approved is actually what gives us the authority to pull those dollars in. This is the report showing our urban renewal, all of our districts. I think we have 5 districts now. We're in the process. We have a public hearing coming up at our next meeting to create a 6th. But each individual district has so much that we can draw from. This just identifies where those districts are and what's available.
And this does not include the new one that we're talking about, the southeast?
Correct.
Okay.
This has to be existing for fiscal year, as it said, 17, 18. So at this point, this is just those that were in effect currently.
I'd make the motion.
Motion by Kurtz,
I'll second it.
second by O'Loughlin. Roll call.
Shar,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next, under new business is compensation for Mr. Reck.
Hi, Bob Beatty, Independence Park and Rec Director, 509 9th Street Southwest. This tonight is not just a compensation, this was his annual review. Brent was with us a year on November 12th. As part of that annual review, we set a salary compensation thing up when he was hired that on the annual review, we would evaluate him and then go to adjust his salary that way. He did receive a raise in July. I am recommending the full compensation, the full $3,000 on top of what he is currently making. So I know that you guys have papers or attachments that are somewhat confusing. I'm here to hopefully clarify that. Brent, in completing his first year, has been a self-starter. He has been a guy that always takes pride in his work. I think he'll be someone that takes our parks department into the next level for us there as we move forward here. In the next year, we'll start working on maybe learning more and more of my duties. So one, that we can share some of those weekends, and/or if the need arises, you have someone that fills in. So my recommendation after a year of employment for Brent is that we go with the full $3,000 compensation increase.
Is he overtime eligible, Bob?
He is not, he's salaried, so those weekends come at only his cost, not a cost to the city, so. Brent and I are the two salaried employees in the department, so. And this is a one-time thing, this isn't, I come back next year, this is it. This is his annual review and his raise from there, and then from now on, it goes to the July, raises as everybody else gets them, whatever's decided by council, so. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them or hopefully clarify what you're looking at.
I will say that we did hire Brent at a lower rate with the idea of, hey, we want to find out how he does. Is he able to pick up that park's responsibilities without a lot of direction from Bob, really taking it on as his own.
Yep.
And he has done that.
Yeah.
That's why we entered into, this type of an arrangement, is to let him earn it, make him prove himself, but the starting.
And to do it over a year, typically it's a 6-month type of thing, you get an evaluation. If we did an evaluation 6 months after Brent was hired, that puts you in May, which really you don't get to evaluate a whole summer. So by doing it this annual, this way, he did get a raise in July, as did everybody else. But I'm asking for the full compensation on top of that. It will be the only time that he's even eligible for that. The rest of it will just be compensation that everybody else gets in July, so.
I'd make a motion to approve it.
I'd second that.
Do we need to list the amount on here, or just,
Which, we've got two attachments. Which one are we, the higher one, the higher bi-weekly one? Is that the right one?
I don't know my
That
calculator.
is the one that is being recommended, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
does that need to be part of the motion itself?
Yes.
Is there a second yet?
Yeah,
I'll second.
there was.
There
Oh,
was
there wasn't, okay.
Kurtz and O'Loughlin?
Yeah.
Okay. And you need a roll call on this also?
Yeah.
So everybody does understand what they're voting on?
It would be a resolution for a biannual salary of 2016.92.
Bi-weekly? not
Bi-weekly.
Yeah.
What was the difference between the two that we had on here?
One shows the 51,000.
See, he started at 48,000, so 48 to 51 is 3,000. I didn't really anticipate the July raise in there, so I'm just asking for the full compensation on top of what he got on his raise, so.
Yeah, one reflects the 51,000, the other one reflects the July increase plus the 3,000 that was in his.
Yeah, the 2016 would be correct, sorry.
So the two people that made the motion and seconded are okay, you understand? And everybody else understands what you're voting on? Okay.
This is not uncommon. We used to have this with new employees. We'd have the annual increase, but our letter of compensation would just be added on to whatever their wage was at the time that came due.
Roll call, please.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yeah, yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Shar.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried.
Appreciate the support.
Thanks, Bob.
Next on the agenda was discussing about the communication with the attorney. Right now, main communication is between the city manager and the attorney. This is not to necessarily make a decision tonight, but just to make a discussion on it.
So the attachment we have is what we're budgeting now with just the going through the city manager?
Yeah, that is our current budget line for legal counsel. The second attachment is City Code, Chapter 20. 20.04 prescribes how the city communicates with the city attorney. It states that the request for legal advice and opinions on contracts, documents, and all questions of law relating to city matters submitted by the mayor, the council as a whole, or the city manager. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the question that was to be discussed, but that's what's in the current city code.
In discussion with the city attorney, it was brought up that certain cities do it differently, and the reason this was changed in our ordinance some time back was to prevent cost overruns in attorney fees, which makes a lot of sense. But on the other hand, it's hard for the city council as a whole to be able to consult with the attorney because we have to do it in an open setting, and you have to have a quorum to do that. And we can't have a quorum without being in a public meeting. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place, how we can speak with the city attorney on a concern that we may have without having to go through Al or the mayor. So I thought it would be a good idea maybe to get some thoughts from the city attorney on what other cities are doing, so that maybe if we decide that we want to sometime down the road change how we communicate with the city attorney, we have that done and in the ordinance. It would require an ordinance change to do that.
And when I was consulted about this, I came back to this policy and basically said, and John understood very well, that with the policy how it presently is, I couldn't come here and do a bunch of work and come here ready to present options to you all. That basically if the council wanted to take a look and be provided a memo with options or something of that nature, that the council as a whole, per 20.04, would have to advise me to do that legal work. So just so you're all aware, I didn't come with a presentation or spiel prepared because I haven't been authorized to spend the time to lay that out for everyone.
It would take council action to have him do that.
And then there would be a cost to that depending on how long it took you to, how much time you put into that presentation.
Right.
Now, currently though, if a city council member sends an email or contacts the mayor or city manager, you pass it on to the city attorney, don't you?
That's correct.
So it's not like we're totally blocked. It just would be if there's something that we would prefer to visit, if it dealt with the mayor or city manager is really what we're talking about.
There are times if there's one council member or two council members that bring something up, then we may wait and bring that on a meeting of the whole so that it's a request by the majority or, of the council. So we may not, if one person calls us and said, we need to ask the attorney this, we may wait and see if that's an interest of the whole council, not just one individual or whatever. So most of the times, we do follow up with it with the attorney, though. And I think if you look at that one, the legal line, you'll see that for where we're at in our budget, we're not, I think this is through what, November would be bills? So we're not quite
Yeah,
6 months.
Halfway through November.
And we've used up at least half, if not a little over half of the budget at this point, so.
We've had a lot of contracts though this year with all of our projects. I
Yeah.
suspect that normal years, we wouldn't.
Right. We have had a flurry of contract reviews that I think does affect that. I think that's probably our biggest change.
And our, our typical request when we go to a city is that there is a primary point of contact named so that there's a chain of command and we know that we're authorized to do what we're doing. Where I've seen some leeway in some other cities are, for example, they'll authorize individual council persons to call if they believe they have a conflict of interest, since it's that council member's responsibility to identify and determine what to do with that. Other examples are, if someone just requires clarification to something on the agenda that, my preference would be that first go through the city manager to see if the city manager can explain that sufficiently, but that's where we've seen it. And our policy where we do have councils that prefer to retain a direct line of communication is to indicate on the billing that it's for example, telephone conference with council member Scharf regarding, and then to send an email out to the entire council saying, basically, this advice was given or this opinion was given or whatnot, because basically the entire council is entitled to that information. But again, if the council desires something different than what's in 20.04, I will come back to you all with a memo with a variety of options. It can be, the spectrum is, you have something like you have now, or it's a complete free-for-all, and there's a lot of things in the it's an entire spectrum. There's a lot of middle ground in there.
One thing I guess I would maybe suggest is that we set a dollar limit for direct council contact, like maybe 500 or 1,000. And the reason I say that is previously, and I know our previous city attorney, he was a little too good-hearted and he never said, I can't talk to you for an hour or something. But I also know that in the past, there were many times things that didn't get blown up out of proportion because somebody could call the city attorney and say, this is happening, is this kosher, or is there anything? It just gave, I think, council members that little bit of option to be able to be told directly by well, no, you could do this if you want to, but no, you really can't. But yet you don't want $10,000 worth of council phone calls because they don't like, minutia stuff. That would be my thought, is if we set and then when the council reached that dollar limit for the year, if one council member used the whole dollar limit, the rest of us could glare at them, or at least tell them not to do that next year. But I think it is good if council does have that option to seek some legal guidance, and a lot of times you're probably going to be told, no, there's nothing you can do about that because of this code or that ordinance. I think it gives people that freedom of, well, I can find some information that is direct to me. I don't know if that makes sense, but.
And that's something that could be tracked fairly easily just by creating a new matter in our billing system. For example, council communication, it would come on a separate bill, so you wouldn't have to parse through all the various things by matter. And you could track dollar that way. So that would be one of the myriad of options.
So at this point, it's really a discussion point among us, whether we want him to proceed with it or do we leave it as is?
My preference would be that he proceed.
Same here. You have to make a motion?
I'd make a motion that we allow the city attorney to proceed with this and offer us a menu of options with pricing.
I'd second that.
Get that? She's writing fast. You made it, who did I hear second it?
Kurt.
Kurtz, okay. And we probably want a roll call on that, too.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Motion carried. You understand what your goal is then?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Next session is, mayor should verify with city attorney the ability to legally enter into a closed session for the record. What we're doing is okay, what we're looking at?
Yes, that's closed session per Iowa Code 21.51J to discuss the purchase of particular real estate.
Okay, so I need a motion to enter into a closed session.
So moved.
Motion by Scharf, seconded. Seconded by Kurtz, okay. All those in favor say
I'll
aye.
do a roll call.
That has to be a roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay, sorry.
Hannah,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Kurtz,
Yes.
Hayward,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Sharp,
Yes.
O'Loughlin,
Yes.
Motion carried, so we are going into closed session, and